as a veteran, small business owner, what can we do for you?
What we can all do for all veteran business owners is promote each other.
My main mission was to look at tools of technology to leverage small business and give them more of a competitive advantage.
My mission for Veteran Bargains is very simple: to help vets.
That story in itself, to run for Vista City Council, is a journey.
I think this is an opportunity to really collaborate with those gone before us.
It's really kind of a labor of love.
And now your host.
And welcome back to another episode of the Veterans Radio Show, brought to you by the National Veterans Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, Shelley Harrison, and every week we have wonderful guests that are just doing powerful things in their community. And we also interview veterans who are doing wonderful things with nonprofit organizations and other types of businesses. So today, I just want to welcome everyone and make sure that you have subscribed to our YouTube channel. We are streaming live on many different platforms, as well as on podcast apps as well. So take a look at any successful business, organization, or institution, and you'll find a veteran or a military spouse in a leadership role of that success. And again, I just want to welcome our audience. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe. We love hearing your comments or seeing your comments on the screen, and we'll put those up and get those questions answered for you. Today, we have two guests. We have our first guest that I'll be introducing you to in just a moment. And then we also have a segment for professionals in action. So you'll meet the other gentleman that we'll be interviewing as well, or that I'll be interviewing. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome my first guest, who is Stephen Crane. And Stephen, he'll be coming in here in just a moment, but I want to tell you a little bit about Stephen. Not only is he a veteran, and he was in the U.S. Marines for 4 years. So we definitely want to thank Stephen for his service. But his organization helps veterans increase their current VA disability rating and then show them how to save and invest for a tax-free retirement. As veterans, they have given so much to this country, and they are not entitled to anything. They have earned everything. They believe that when your mind and wallet are taken care of, then you can begin to focus on the real mission at hand, the military transition. And like I mentioned, and he served 4 years in the U.S. Marines. I just want to give you a warm welcome. Stephen, how are you today?
I am doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. And I'm excited to get into this interview with you. And if I can say, you're coming to us from Ohio, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So how's the weather in Ohio today?
It's Ohio weather.
It's Ohio
You
weather.
never know what you're going to get. It really is a box of chocolates up here.
Oh, wow. Well, we are happy that you've tuned in, and let's get right into this. I definitely want to give you a shout out, because on your LinkedIn, you have over 19,000 followers. So we want to give all of your LinkedIn followers a shout out. And we have a special offer that you're going to be mentioning a little bit later about an event that's coming up. So we'll talk about that. And I found a quote on your LinkedIn that I want to mention here, because this kind of brings us right into the interview. And this was a quote on your LinkedIn page. So, and this is from you. So, my outlook is simple. My methods are effective. And most importantly, my results are everlasting. With everything I do and accomplish, I always remember the 3 H's: be humble, hungry, and hustle. So I want to welcome you, Stephen, and, tell us a little bit about your military experience.
Absolutely. So I went in the Marine Corps in 2013, and I always like to say my body let me do 4.5 years. Because I was, unfortunately, I got out a little bit earlier than I wanted to. I typically went in with the mindset of 20 years. I was going to be an admin chief. I was going to have a successful career, retire, all that good stuff. But I guess the Lord had other plans for me, because about 4 years in, I started becoming very sick. I started becoming very ill. I had a lot of physical problems, and a lot of mental problems, and just a lot of internal stuff that was wrong with
Yeah.
me. And I kept trying to get seen by the VA, by the medical professionals out in town. I tried everything, but ultimately they decided to put me on a med board, which, if anyone watching isn't familiar with, it's about a 1-year process. It's broken into 2 6-month segments. The first 6 months, you basically live at medical. And then the last 6 months is when you basically transition out of the service. As you
Yes.
can imagine, I did 4.5 years. So I did
Yeah.
6 months of living at medical, but 72 hours before I was supposed to get my extension for the other 6 months and then actually retire, there was an individual that determined that I was fit for duty and I was perfectly fine. And at that point, I didn't have any options of reenlisting. I didn't have anything. So I went through my stereotypical homeless vet phase. I lost everything. I was basically booted with 72 hours notice and I had nothing. And so I scraped and clawed my way back to civilization over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and my guess is that's why you started your company, 360 Vets. So tell us about that.
Absolutely. So, yeah, over the last couple of years, I got out in 2017. So over the last couple of years, it's been a struggle. I've worked anywhere from being a janitor. I've worked all the way up to being an executive at companies. I've worked as a consultant. I've worked everything in between. But what I tried to do throughout this entire process was get seen by the VA, actually get healthy, get treated, get the benefits that
course.
I earned. And I found so many hurdles in that process, whether the VA not outsourcing properly, backlogs, or just, blatant disregard sometimes. And I know everyone's experience with the VA is different, but unfortunately, as I've come to realize, my experience was very similar to a lot of people. But in 2020, I found a company called Remedical, REE Medical, and I went through their process. And now, granted, my results are a little bit different, but 45 days later, I came out 100% permanent and total disabled. And ever since then, my life has been completely changed. That was back in 2020, so actually not too long ago.
Yeah,
But
that was during COVID when COVID first started.
and it
Yeah.
became a huge blessing for me and my family. And
Oh.
later on that year, I had the opportunity to open up 360 Veteran because I realized if I was able to get 100% PNT and I know the results that it had for me and my family, why are we not funding this? Why is there not more attention to this? And so I started 360 Veteran in the middle of the pandemic of all times. And ever
Gosh.
since then, we've been helping veterans increase their disability rating.
Wow. Well, we appreciate the work that you're doing. And I mean, that's fantastic because there is quite, there are a lot of veterans out there that have come out of the military and, out of active duty and retiring and some of them need that direction, So I'm glad that, you're doing better today. And it sounds like you really, you did the work and you sought the support and help that you needed. So congratulations on that. And, what I'd like to have you share is exactly what does 360 Veterans do? What do you do with your company?
So we primarily focus on increasing disability ratings.
Mhm.
When a person gets their decision letter from the VA, whether it's good or bad, we can help. And that's the coolest thing about what we do is as long as you have your initial decision letter from the VA, we can help you. And I always get asked, who's your prime target? Like who's your perfect candidate or client?
Yeah.
Veterans that got their VA disability letter back from the VA, plain and simple, because there's
Okay.
really two things that could happen. The VA could deny you service connection for whatever it is that you claimed, or they
Mhm.
could have rated you and service connected you for something. Either way, we could help
Mm.
you. We can help increase the stuff that is service connected, or we could try to help in some way, shape, or form get the stuff that was denied service connected through the use of Nexus letters. So that's really
Mm.
what we focus on, and that's really our passion and specialty.
Yes, and I know that we talked a little bit about you have a launch coming up tonight, and it's videos. It's a video series. Tell our audience, because I think that's going to be kind of that connect where veterans and families of veterans can probably participate. Can you share the launch that's coming tonight?
My pleasure. I am super excited for this launch.
I bet.
It's been a while in the making, but we finally got all the videos finalized. We got the website finalized. So this tonight at midnight. So October 2nd is officially the launch date. But tomorrow, tonight,
Yeah.
whatever you want to look at, we're going to have a completely new redesigned website. It's going to have an amazing amount of resources available to any veteran, completely free.
Yeah, and can you give the website for our audience, Stephen, and just sound it out so that they know, because if we have podcast listeners, they're not going to be able to see, so if you could just say the website for us.
Of course. So if you go to www.the360veteran.com, that's THE360 veteran.com. If you go to that website, you'll have all the access to all the videos, all the downloads, all the resources completely free for you and your family, your battle buddies, whoever you want to share it with.
Yeah, and we will make sure that that's in the show notes too. Absolutely. And again, you're doing great work, Stephen. And what challenges have you faced? Fast forward, let's go into 2021. What challenges have you seen and conquered in the last year?
COVID obviously is a big one. And the lack of networking, in-person events. We used to do tons of speaking events and tons of interactive on in-site, in-person type webinars and group events. But there's just none of that going on right now, unfortunately, because of everything that's going on in the world. So the last year, I've pretty much been hunkered down here in my studio, and we've been able to record all these videos and get all these resources out to people. So it's been a huge blessing in one aspect, because we've been able to tackle a lot of projects that we've wanted to
and create content. Yeah.
But on the other end, we've lost a lot of that, touch and feel connections with veterans that I'm really looking forward to get back into, hopefully in 2022.
Yeah. And I think, the rumor is that things are going to be coming back around, maybe mid 2022. So we'll see. There are some hybrid events where they're in person, and some are streaming live. In fact, I attended one yesterday, a conference, and they had people, where they were streaming live, and then there were probably about 200, 300 people there, but it was a very big auditorium. But no, that's great. And you also have an event coming up. I know here in just a moment, we're going to have our executive director come on. But can you tell us really quickly about the event that you're having on October 16th that's free?
Yes. So October 16th, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay.
Mark your calendars, go to my LinkedIn and get on that event. It is all about how to maximize your VA disability rating. We'll go through some of the tips, tricks, misconceptions, you name it. We're going to cover it inside that webinar.
Oh, fantastic. And what I might do too, I'm going to give a shout out to one of my very good friends who's an influencer. He has over 90,000 followers on LinkedIn, Hiram Figueroa. So if you are watching and listening, please share this out, because I think, he has a huge community of veterans. So thought I'd give Hiram a shout out there. But thank you, Stephen, for sharing that. And I believe that we have, let me double check here. I believe that we have Joe in the studio. So let's bring Joe on. He is our executive director. And let's see if he's coming in. I know. Not yet. Okay, so we're going to keep going. All right. Well, in this case, Stephen, before we go to once Joe gets here, what life lesson have you learned that has had a big impact on your career and the company that you have today?
Consistency.
Consistency.
Yeah. That is everything, because if you're doing a little bit of good every day, if you continue to do that every single day,
Yeah.
results will happen. We started
Yeah.
this 360 Veteran. I started it with $100 in my pocket.
Oh my gosh.
I
Really?
did not start
Yeah.
with anything. I didn't have a website, didn't have any employees, didn't have anything, but now we've grown. Now we have a team. Now we have a nice professional looking website. We have all the social media channels, and now we're doing LinkedIn events. So just to see the progress over the last year, truthfully, it has been phenomenal, especially in a pandemic of all times.
Yeah. And, I just want to give you a shout out because you are such an accredited young man. I went to your LinkedIn page and there were just so many projects and things that you've done just in your career. And, knowing that you're doing this work right now, I think, a lot of people need to know, just what you're doing and how you're supporting so many veterans. And I know we're on a time schedule here, but I understand that Joe's available now. So we're going to welcome Joseph Molina, who is our Executive Director of the National Veterans Chamber of Commerce.
Hi,
And there he
Stephen.
is.
Hey, Shelley. Nice
Hi,
seeing
Joe.
you. Thank you for the opportunity. And welcome, Stephen. It's a pleasure to meet you face to face via Zoom.
It is an absolute pleasure.
And I just wanted to say, my gosh, thank you for what you're doing. We always get approached with services that offer to help veterans, especially a lot of veterans like myself that are not gone through the process because so many bureaucratic issues. We have a lot of people like that, and we're always looking for a clear cut approach to helping the veterans. And we have services, people that connect with us and they want to offer that, but there's always that kind of unclear way they're doing it. And I like your approach is clear cut. It benefits the veteran themselves, and it's a hand holding approach, because I don't want to learn how to do VA stuff. I'm not interested. I want someone who has the experience to walk me through the process and walk everybody else through the process. And that's key. That's very key. So just wanted to say hi and thank you for coming on the show. And I'm sure we'll be connecting with you through Shelley, post the show, so we can see how we can collaborate. How can we help your mission? How can we work together in getting this service more available to our community? So, think about how you want to do this. We have so many different ways. And so Shelley and I will kind of meet with you and see how we can play together, because it's all about collaboration. So I just wanted to stop by and say thank you, meet you face to face. And then thank you, Shelley, for the opportunity to come in and say hi.
Oh, thank you, Joe, for coming in and welcoming Stephen. We appreciate the work you do too for the National Veterans Chamber of Commerce.
It's always fun. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Right,
well,
Steve?
thank you, Joe.
Absolutely appreciate the warm welcome and the offer to help, and I definitely look forward to collaborating.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely will be in touch.
Yes.
Right.
Very
Thank you,
good.
Shelley.
All right.
I'll pass it on to you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much. All right. And I have one final question for you before we go into the next segment. Stephen, we're going to be doing our professionals in action. But one thing that I'd like to ask you is, what's next for you?
What's next for me is getting this launch done. Getting this launch and
Tonight,
getting this content out has been absolutely huge, because we've partnered with several nonprofits that are also going on bases to do part of the TAPS program, the Transition Assistance Program.
Yeah.
And the content series, the video library that we've created is actually going to be part of that curriculum that veterans are going to be able to have when they go through that TAPS program. So it's fantastic that we were finally able to get everything out there. And now we just brace for impact, right?
Yes.
We're going to have tons of veterans coming our way. And I just want to announce to everyone, our team is here and we're ready to help you. So please never hesitate to reach out.
Yeah. And how cool is this that it's your launch day and here we are, we're helping to just get the word out, and perfect timing, right?
Absolutely. Perfect
Yeah.
timing.
Well, Stephen, thank you so much for being a guest on the Veterans Radio Show today. We absolutely appreciate the work you're doing. We will collaborate, like Joe mentioned, and we wish you much success tonight. And we will make sure that we push those tonight, the launch, and then also October 16th's event. And thank you so much for your service. And we're going to keep you in the green room, and then we're going to bring on Wayne Slavitt. So thank you again, Stephen. And I would like to bring on in just a moment here, we're going to meet actually Wayne Slavitt. And Wayne Slavitt is the president and founder of the Primark Group Incorporated. He is actually an amazing man. I mean, the things that he's done in his career, you're gonna meet him in just a moment. He is an expert in maximizing business value. Over the past few decades, Wayne has been involved in numerous and diverse entrepreneurial projects in both principal and advisory capacities. Wayne's broad involvement on both sides of the aisle range from executive positions as CEO, CFO, and corporate controller to consultative roles as an investment banker, specialized business professional, and company founder. And I know that Wayne is anxious to discuss how he can help veteran-owned companies achieve outstanding results when selling their businesses. At a certain level, helping veterans is a way he can honor his father, who was a decorated World War II veteran. So I would love to say hello to Wayne and welcome him to the show today.
Hi, Shelley. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, Wayne. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks very much for having me. I really enjoy it.
Oh, well, we're happy that you're here. And we want to hear from you. I know you have a book launch coming soon, but you have a very special bronze star that you have and share a little bit about your dad. I know that,
Sure.
you had shared that with me prior, and I'd love for you to share with our audience.
Sure. I appreciate the opportunity. It's been 30 years since Dad's gone, but he was a medic in World War II, landed in France, and was a very active participant in the Battle of the Bulge, which was, as you probably know, a pivotal battle during World War II. He was involved in numerous smaller battles as part of the overall battle, and was awarded the Bronze Star, which is a very, very special award. You can see behind me here, I have all of his awards mounted on there. He's an inspiration to me. He's what drives my desire to want to be involved and help veterans out. I was not a veteran myself, but he was. He didn't talk about it a lot. The gentlemen from that generation were a bit hesitant to talk about it. They wanted to get back here to the States and be able to start families and buy homes and all that. But my dad was a real brave soldier, and I want to believe that the good things that have happened in my life are the result of the discipline and the sense of order and timeliness that he instilled in me.
Oh, absolutely. And I know, we appreciate his service, and I know that, the entire family is involved when it comes to, their loved ones being in the military. So thank you for, for honoring your dad too.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, we're going to, yes, definitely. Well, we're going to get into the kind of the meat and potatoes of this. I know you work with veteran and non-veteran owned companies. Is there a difference in the work you do for veteran owned companies?
Well, on the surface, Shelley, you would think that a manufacturing company is a manufacturing company, and there's a lot of similarities, and in fact there are. But when we come down to the most important asset that a company has, it's their people. And when I work with companies that are owned by a veteran or a company that employs veterans, I know automatically that what I'm going to be able to do with the owner, who's a veteran, is have a higher degree of commitment than I would with a company not owned by a veteran. And the reason is obvious. We're going to do a lot of work side by side with the owners of the company. And I know that if they have military background, they are dedicated, they're professional, they're hardworking, and they're mission driven. So I know that when we sit down and start talking about tasks that need to get done, assignments that have deadlines, work that needs to be analyzed, I know I'm going to have a commitment that is above and beyond the ordinary commitment that I would get out of a non-veteran business owner.
Yeah. No, thank you for defining that, because that, that is so true. And I know that our veterans that, that do own companies and they're CEOs, CFOs of companies, they have a lot of skill, just from, having been in the military. So in
Very much
addition to, owning their own companies.
Sure.
Yeah. What would you say is the most important thing you do for a business, Wayne?
Well, we do a lot of things, and just to set the table a little bit more, is the main focus of my practice is to help a business owner prepare for the eventual sale of their business so that we can get the maximum value for that business at the very best terms when it comes time for us to sell the business. So we do a lot of things. We do many things. The two major things we're going to do is we're going to do all we can to grow the profit level of the company. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to identify, address, and then work to reduce as many risk factors as possible. And a veteran would understand risk very well, because out in the battlefield, you're trying to identify all of the areas of risk and eliminate them, because if you can eliminate them, you can move forward. So we're trying to employ similar types of strategy to what we do. I would say the most important thing that I do is instill in the mind of a business owner the importance of having what we call the seller's mindset. And the seller's mindset is constantly being ready for the day when you're going to sell your business. So let's say, for example, we can compare it to owning a home. And if you were going to sell your house, you would likely not put a for sale sign in the front yard today. You would meet with a realtor, you would walk around the house, you would discuss landscaping, you might take a peek at the roof, you'd go inside the house, you would check out the plumbing, the carpeting, a number of things. It would be a checklist of items that you would look at before you allowed any potential buyer to come to your house. Well, I will tell you, Shelley, every week I get phone calls from people who refer business to my firm, and the owner says, I just got contacted by ABC Company. They want to buy my company. Can you help me sell it? And I asked them, well, where were you 3 years ago? Because we have
prep work.
There's not literal, but there's the imaginary paint peeling off of your building. We need to get that fixed. So the thing I try to instill in clients and potential clients is how important it is to be race ready. We want to make sure that every day going forward, you are preparing yourself for that eventual time when you will no longer own your company. In the military terms, it's like having your go bag right at your front door. We want to make sure that you're race ready to go. So I know that call is going to come in, or an email is going to come in, or a letter is going to come in saying, we're interested in your company. And if you haven't planned for that, I can guarantee you're going to leave money on the table. And if nothing else keeps me awake at night, it's that.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Well, and I know
be prepared.
Yes, be prepared. Absolutely. And I know we just have a couple more minutes. I have another question that I want to ask you. You recommend that a business owner start the process of preparing for the sale of their business 3 to 5 years before the sale.
Yes.
So you gave a couple of examples of, why it's good to start early. So what other things could you add on to that would kind of bring that home, where start early?
Let me give you a military example. If I'm looking at a runway and my runway is short, I can only land and take off smaller airplanes. In the business world and selling a company, what do we want to do? I want to sell the company for as much money as possible. I want to maximize the value of your business. That's what I'm an expert in. I want to be able to maximize the value of that business. So if I want to be able to land a larger plane on that runway, I need a longer runway. I need to have the number of feet necessary for that plane to touch down. So in business terms now, the more time, I say 3 to 5 years is my ideal time. If you can give me 3 to 5 years, I can almost virtually guarantee you that we can address the major issues that a buyer might find and cause the price to go down. I don't want that to happen. So if we start today, people always ask me, when should I start? I always give them the very same answer. Today. We must start today, not tomorrow, today.
Yeah.
The more time we have, the more we can achieve.
That's right. And those analogies are great because really, like, a house, you're not going to sell your house and put a for sale sign on it day one, otherwise you're not going to make as much money as you would have if you had planned. And the same thing with the airplane landing or
That's
the
right.
the runway, it does make a difference. And, I know that you have a new book coming out and we don't have a whole lot of time because the show is almost over, but I do want to mention that actually, Wayne, your book is launching. Run it like you'll sell it.
Yes.
So, and when is the launch date?
Well, the book should be available the second week in November, and the offer I will make to anyone who's listening to the radio show today,
Oh,
you'll see my
awesome.
email address. Send me an email if you're a business owner of a company with revenues at least of $10 million. And if you'd like a free copy of my book, it's about 145 pages. It's an easy read. It's hardcover. I will send you a complimentary copy for listening to this
Nice.
radio show. So just drop me a line when the book is ready. I'll send it out to you. And it'll be great reading. It'll be a nice little book you'll want to keep with you and refer to on a regular basis. And perhaps it might even be a reason you'll want to give me a call and maybe work with our firm.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Wayne. And how about that? A free copy, and kind of going back to that book launch, it's going to be a great resource for, businesses that really need to get that process started. So thank you for sharing today and being on our Professionals in Action, Wayne. We appreciate you being here. And we are out of time. And I just want to make sure, I know Jimmy probably put the website up on the monitor there, but I just want to thank everyone for joining us today for the Veterans Radio Show brought to you by the National Veterans Chamber of Commerce. And I want to give a shout out to our backstage. We have Jimmy in the background as our producer. And I want to thank my co-host, Laura Torres, who she's not here today, but she's definitely with us in spirit. So thank you again. Like, subscribe, and share this out to anybody that that can benefit by watching. We want to thank our guests, Stephen Crane and also Wayne Slavitt. So thank you so much for being here. And again, I'm Shelley Harrison. I'm your host. Check back with us on our YouTube channel and look for other episodes. Thank you so much.